Good evening, YouTube, or good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Piper Report. I am happy to have Holly Seeliger with me today, who is a political commentator and a blogger and a YouTuber. So, Holly, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Piper.
Yep. I guess to start things off, could you just tell us about your channel, like why you started, when did you start it, and what's your end goal?
I've had a YouTube account since 2013, but I didn't do anything with it. And then in October, as the elections were really heating up, and I was already following several other prominent YouTubers, and I've been following the Corbett Report, James Corbett, for like almost a decade now. I don't know, at least like 5 or 6 years. And I was like, I got to get in on this. Like,
Yeah.
I have all these ideas. I want to talk to someone about it, and I'm just basically driving my friends and family nuts at this point because they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I need to talk to people on YouTube." So, and I was also trying to move away from some of the other types of social media like Facebook, and was just feeling toxic to me. So I'm like, I need to, people don't care about my political thoughts on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about YouTube too. You run into a lot of people that are similar to your channels. It's good. For me, I like YouTube the most as a social media platform because I guess for me it's easier to find people that are a lot like me. At the same time, find people that are different than me, but I can still have a good conversation with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think same with Twitter. I mean, there's only so much you can say. And I think with YouTube, with rebuttals and like people having different people on, and, I'm from Maine and you're from North Dakota. Like, I meet people all over the
Oh
world, which
yeah.
is cool. Yeah.
So then, you're part of the Green Party of Maine, you said?
Yeah, I started serving in local office on the school board around here in 2012 as a third party as a green. So, yeah.
So what's different between the Green Party, the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party?
So, it's kind of funny here in Maine. I live in the first district, which is the lower part of Maine, and it's completely Democrat. Like, there's no Republicans in this
Yeah.
district at all. So I'm effectively the second party, like, the Green Party is, because the Green Party's been in Maine since the 1980s. So there are some people who have laid the groundwork down to actually have state ballot access and local access, and people go through the motions of keeping us a legitimate party. So I got sick of the Democrats, and I was like, I'm gonna try something else.
Well, to me, I think the two-party system is fundamentally flawed. There is just so much corruption in it. Me personally, I am fiscally conservative and socially moderate, so I guess I would align most aptly probably with the Libertarian Party. And it's
Yep.
actually nice because, like, nowadays you watch the news and there's so much hostility between people with opposing viewpoints. So it's nice having a cordial conversation with, like, you, for instance. Like, we probably don't agree on everything, but the stuff we disagree on, we're not denigrating each other, we're not attacking each other. We can actually sit here and have a cordial conversation. It seems that nowadays that is so hard to come by. There's so much hostility to one another and so much political polarization. It's insane.
Yeah, and I think, just the Democrats and Republicans kind of look like a soap opera right now, like under something, or like
Oh yeah.
WWE wrestling or something, and you're like, what are you guys even arguing about?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
there's so much alike in so many ways at this point. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So then for the 2016 election, who was your candidate that you were going for?
I voted Jill Stein.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So what are your thoughts on Bernie? Were you a fan of Bernie at all?
I mean, it's hard. It's conflicting because, I live in Maine, and so Vermont's right next door. So I've known about Bernie as an independent for he's been in office over there for
Yeah.
decades. So he was known as like the example of an independent. So in a lot of ways, it was cool to see because we've had an independent governor here in Maine before. So we were a little bit different than most states, which are just straight up Democrat or Republican. But I was wary to like, I didn't want to register as a Democrat to vote for him in the primaries. Like it's I thought that they were gonna like cheat him, you
Yeah.
know, like I just didn't trust them. And
Yeah.
like I had friends who were Greens who left the party to primary for Bernie, and I had friends who gave money to his campaign. And yeah, I mean, I believe for a while there, I really thought that he was going to win the primary nomination,
Yeah.
you know, which would have stirred things up.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary, they set him up. It was horrible. You know, I'll be honest, like I'm sure your subscribers probably are a lot of Bernie supporters. Like me, I have mostly kind of right-wing supporters. But one thing I have to say, and I'm probably going to get hate mail for this, but the one thing I have to say about Bernie Sanders that disappoints me is that when he endorsed Hillary Clinton. In my mind,
Oh,
he endorsed the antithesis of everything he stood against. And here's the argument by people. He had no choice. He had no choice. He had to. It was either Hillary or Trump. Well, my response is there is always a choice. And if you can willingly give up your principles that easily, then they aren't really principles. In my opinion.
exactly. Yep. Yep. I've said that too. I'm like, what ground does he have to stand on now? Like, it was pretty obvious to so many Bernie people that, you know, she cheated
Yeah.
him. And then he turns around and is just like,
All right,
you know,
bows
kick
down.
her.
Yeah,
You know?
bows down.
Yeah.
For me, I'll be honest, I did vote for Trump, but he wasn't my first pick. I wanted Rand Paul, and in 2012 I
Yeah.
wanted Ron Paul, and then I admit
hmm
in 2008 I voted for Obama, which
I
I
voted for Obama in 2008
okay, I
too.
don't feel as bad anymore.
It's all right. You get it off your chest. So.
Oh, that's good. So what do you
Yeah,
think of? Sorry, go on. Go on.
I really like Rand Paul and Ron Paul. Like I think I love he does the Liberty Report. I
Yeah,
mean, that guy is super sharp, you know. He's pretty old now too, and it's like, man, like who can follow up those guys? I mean, I definitely want to see the Libertarian Party take off. We don't really have an organized Libertarian Party here in Maine, but they would do well if they could get themselves organized and on the ballot because there's way more of there's just way more connection between independent people than we're led to believe.
yeah. And I'll be honest, I was not a fan of Gary Johnson at all. I think putting him up was a joke, and I think it actually hurt the Libertarian Party.
Yeah,
To me, I
yeah.
wish they would have done Austin Peterson. He was really young though during the election, but he would have been a good Libertarian choice. I think Gary Johnson actually hurt Libertarian Party more than helped it, but that's my opinion, I guess.
Mhm.
So then, what are your thoughts on the future of the Democratic Party? Me personally, I think that the Democratic Party is breaking off into the progressive wing like Bernie and Warren, and then also the Democratic centralists. Do you think that's right, or do you think they're like what are your thoughts on it?
There's definitely a battle for the heart and soul of the Democratic Party right now. And I think you're right. It's like the neoliberals are like exposing their face right now. Like they're trying to fight Trump and they're working together with the neocons on the Republican side. So there's like these like odd bedfellows that you
Yeah,
would think that they were, you know, supposed to be fighting each other, but they're just uniting against Trump. So the Democratic Party either has no choice, like they have to have progressives like Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie or, you know, whoever they're going to call progressive. I mean, ultimately, they're still taking like the same donations and the same lobbyists are influencing them. And, you
yeah.
know, I'm just wary about that. I mean, they have to go progressive, though. I mean, they've got nothing. They're just completely falling apart right now.
Oh yeah, I agree. People like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Pelosi should be in a psych ward, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She's insane, and Chuck Schumer too. He's a joke. Dianne Feinstein, joke. I mean, but the
Yeah.
Republicans, then you got Mitch McConnell, who's a joke. Paul Ryan, who's a joke. That two-party system is just so fundamentally flawed, and they're so
McCain,
corrupt.
you
Yeah,
know. Yeah. It's like these like I don't know, I'm interested to see if like there will eventually be like younger people, you know, when I say younger, I mean like people in their 40s or 50s who actually start to go into the party because it's like it's been the same people for like a long time now. Those people are like lifers.
yeah.
You know, they've been in Congress so long.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because they're all so corrupt too. You know, they're all funded by lobbyists and special donors, special interests, and so then, what are your thoughts now, kind of off topic here, about YouTube censorship, about the AdSense and the advertisers leaving?
It's hard. I mean, I'm small time, so I've never really relied on that money, thank goodness, you know. But at the same time, I'm getting censored on the most random stuff. Like I sometimes I just shoot videos of I'm walking around in a graveyard or Casco Bay, which is right across the bridge, and they censored that. They're like they demonetized that, and so I
Yeah,
have to like message them and be like, "What's up, you guys?" And like then I lose money in the meantime. Like not that it was anything really, but I think I'm just I love YouTube and I love the fact that we have this technology, but if they completely take it over, like what do we have? We have like ham radio or like letters. Like we need to build up something else in the meantime because they're trying to dismantle it right now.
I agree. Like my channel's a lot smaller than yours, so my AdSense, I only did my videos that have 1,000 or more views, and after the YouTuber or advertisers left, that completely dropped. And not only that, I noticed too that the ads that do remain, if someone clicks on it, you don't make as much as you did beforehand. Like
Oh.
that,
Huh.
that actually went down as well. So it's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think I came in at the tail end of it, and like some people said like don't even bother to try to monetize your stuff at this point. Like try to do a PayPal or a Patreon or whatever. Like people, I've gotten a couple of dollar bills in the mail. Like that's cool,
Yeah, right.
because that's how we can try to break away from this monetizing anyway. I mean, they're gonna go into like full on censorship. I'm afraid, I don't know.
So then, with the whole, I guess we'll kind of switch options a little bit here. What do you think of the mainstream media? Do you think like they're biased? I have my own beliefs, but I'm curious on yours.
What do I think of the mainstream
Yeah,
media?
like how are they biased, or do they favor? Are they against Trump? I mean,
I'm kind of like I'm a little bit far off the deep end right now. Like I think I'm trying to remember which NDAA it was, but it made like propaganda legal. Like I wish I could pull it up right now. So I think we're kind of at the point where our media is not working for the American people anymore. It's working for you know corporations or whatever you want to theorize on what is going on right now. But I can't I look and I make my videos with a critical eye of the mainstream media at this point, just because it drives me so nuts.
I agree. I mean, during the election, CNN was owned by Time Warner. Well, Time Warner just so happened to be Hillary's seventh biggest donor. So it's like, how can you
Yeah.
expect to be impartial and unbiased in your reporting, but at the same time fund a candidate like Hillary? And
Yeah, exactly. And Washington Post and CNN. And like, I thought it was hilarious that Trump just like points at them and calls them fake news. Like, what president would ever do that?
yeah,
Like,
right?
only someone who's been like a reality TV star can just point at them and tell them that. And so, in a lot of ways, like, I think, he's got a lot of gall to actually, like, who else? Like, Obama would never say that,
No.
or no one would, I can't think of anyone that would really say that.
For my channel too, a big part of it is bashing the media because I really cannot stand the media. And I just want to give a couple more examples of what I find extremely biased. And the first one is that they report on false stories, and the word gets out. But then when the truth comes out, they don't report on the truth. So that first impression of the story is fixed in people's minds. An example I give: there was a woman, a Muslim woman, who was arrested for filing a false police report. And she said that she was attacked on a subway by Donald Trump supporters. Well, she lied about it. And all the major media organizations, they reported on it. But then,
Yep.
when it turned out to be fake, they didn't report that it was fake. So people still believe that that poor Muslim woman was attacked by Donald Trump supporters. It's stuff like that just drives me insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's straight up like yellow journalism. It's just like, it's totally, completely fake. It's all speculation at that point. And you're right, like, they put that first impression into someone's mind. So it's hard to say, oh, we were wrong. Like, that's not really even newsworthy to them.
Yeah. So what do you think of Antifa then?
I'm kind of far off the deep end on that too. I think a lot of that is Soros,
Oh yeah.
honestly.
Oh yeah, I
You
agree.
know, I think it's controlled opposition. Like, not to take out my tinfoil hat. Like, I know there are a lot of people who believe in Antifa and they join in, but first time I saw a few of their videos and they're wearing like the same black boots, the same black pants, same backpacks, like I was just like, okay, like they have these uniforms or something. Like and if you look into other countries, Greece, Macedonia, Hungary, like there's all these Antifa that kind of looks and acts the same. And the connections between Berkeley and Soros's son is getting his PhD there, and like I don't know, it's like, and a lot of that is completely speculation, but I think it's controlled opposition.
Yeah, I
I don't.
agree. I agree. I think also with that too. I mean, Antifa is short for anti-fascist, yet their techniques and their tactics represent fascism if I ever seen it. Attacking people for wanting to give a speech. It's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah, free speech, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yep, and people fall for it.
yeah, they do. They just eat it up. So then, what's your, I guess, impression of Trump so far, his presidency? What do you like and dislike about it?
I mean, what has he been in office like a little bit more than 100 days? You know, um, I think it's way more fascinating than Obama, that's for sure. I mean, I loved the fact that he threw out the TPP as a businessman. I mean, it just makes complete sense. I don't know. I'm hopeful that he's actually improving relations with China. Like, I know things seem confusing right now, but it takes like diplomacy, and I want China to be our ally. I want Russia to be our ally. So honestly, like, I don't understand why Democrats are like so mad that he talks to Putin, or that there's diplomacy going on. Like, that's what's going on, and Trump will play hardball too. He's like, if China doesn't work with me, maybe they'll go talk to Taiwan. Like, and that's how you get China to the table. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. I don't know. There's so many different factors that are going on. I certainly don't trust, a lot of his cabinet, the people in DC. Like, the whole thing is toxic. So I don't know how one person can change it. But he's definitely, trolling a lot of DC and a lot of the press. And if you can keep them in reaction mode, then he can try to do what he wants to do.
That's my main thing too. His cabinet members, like he has neocons like McMaster's in it, and
Yeah.
McMaster's talks with John McCain like every day, and all they want is war with Russia, war all Middle East, and I think that's bad for him. I think Trump needs to step away from the neocons and go back to his base, or else he's going to lose his base. Um, so then, I guess we'll move on to Congress now. You and I both agree that Congress is pretty much corrupt. So do you think Congress should have term limits?
Um, yeah, I kind of think we do. I mean, in theory, like, I think if someone is awesome and they're actually doing what they say they're going to do, and they speak for the people, and they actually represent their constituents, like, I think it would be great to keep people in. But I feel like we were just talking about a few minutes ago, there's all these lifers like Feinstein and McCain, and like these people that have been in office for just so many decades now, and the way that they do is by just continuing to take corporate money, so they can just drown out any other candidate that tries to run against them, I guess. I mean, I'm waiting for their name to become mud in their district, and it's just not happening. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know if I could ask you about this, but you mentioned something about doing legislature work, so I don't know what your perspective is on any of that too.
Yeah, there's like there's an argument for it and against it. The argument against term limits is that you are in essence blocking someone's right to vote for who they want. So
Right.
what I actually thought about, now this would never happen because Congress would never do it. Like Congress makes $180,000 a year. They have a pension, great health care. Cut all that shit in half. Pay them like 60,000 a
Yeah.
year. No pension.
Yeah.
Because the founders founded the country and they didn't want career politicians. They wanted people that work their regular job, then come during session and then go back home. But now it's like a job being a politician, and they get so much perks and benefits while people suffer. Poor people suffer. It doesn't make sense to me. It's all corruption.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, on my, in the seat that I have right now, I try not to talk about it too much because I don't want to like meddle my professional work with my YouTube work, but I'm not even making $1,000 a month like doing school board stuff, and I could do that like full time plus, like that could be everything all the time, so I think once you get up to these huge, and I want to do it because I love the work, like it's a passion for me, not because I'm getting $180,000 a year and all that. I mean, people will do anything for that amount of money. It doesn't matter. Plus all the kickbacks and the lobbying and like the free dinners, like, like it's the perks that people want to stay in office. So
Yeah, and it's funny too because a lot of those people in Congress, they're actually allowed to like do book deals they get paid for, like easy publishing costs, like they just get extra money besides, like you said, working in their congressional spot. It's just so much money in Washington, so much dark money, and I mean, term limits would be good, but they would never happen. I wish they will eventually.
would that have to be like what is that called? A constitutional convention sort of thing?
Yeah, 34 states we need. We're at 11, so we need 23 more states to join.
What do you think about that? Do you like that?
I do, and my main thing would be to balance the budget, because like I said, I'm a fiscal conservative, and for just once,
Yeah.
I would like to see people cutting spending instead of increasing spending, but I do agree with that. I really like that our founders were smart. They knew that, cronyism and corruption does stem high in politics, so the states can always take their country back. So I do agree with it. I do like it.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good perspective because I've only heard about it from like the Citizens United approach, like, and I'm wary about that because I don't know if I really trust the politicians in office right now, like, but at the same time, like, what else do we have? Like, I think calling a constitutional convention is a great tool, like you said, and it hasn't happened in a long time. And you're right about balancing a budget. I mean, that would help a lot with the bureaucracy and the fact that things are being spent, our taxes are being spent on stuff that makes absolutely no sense and it's not benefiting us anymore.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. So who you want to see run for president in 2020 or 2024?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
I'm not even looking that far ahead right now. Is that crazy?
No, that's how I am too.
Not Hillary.
I look at it because there's so much two-party stuff, and I want a third-party candidate to get in there that's good. And if they pick Gary Johnson again as Libertarian, I can't see me voting for him. I just can't. Austin Peterson maybe, but he's really young, and I don't think he's going to run again. But I agree. It's just it's far away from now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think the Green Party should run Jill Stein again. Like, I think after you've run a couple times, like, it's time for someone else too. And like, the party needs to evolve, and like, who knows what politics could be like in a couple years. I mean, I would assume Trump would run again, but it's also like he's not a young guy. Like, he's pretty old, and like, being in office as president, it just ages you so quickly. So who knows? Like, I mean, he's taking hits from both sides right now, so who knows what could happen in a few years.
Yeah, I'll be honest, with the way things are going and the constant attacks he gets, which I might add, I do agree. Hold on, we have a problem with internet connection. Can you hear me yet?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, it's back now. I do agree that, I mean, Donald Trump does do a lot of things. Like, he gets attacked a lot. He does bring it on himself on some parts, I admit it. But for the most part, he just gets attacked everywhere, and I think it is wearing him down. I don't even think he even wants to run in 2020. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but the way things are going, if he doesn't, I would understand. I would really understand about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anything, though, like, even if he was just a lame duck the rest of this time, like, the fact that he's, like, using Twitter as a president is huge. I don't think people really understand how forward thinking that is. Like, he kind of changed the presidency in that
Yeah.
way. Like, he brought back the direct relation to the people, and he's bypassed the press in a lot of ways. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. It's similar to like the fireside chats or something. It's just next level. So I think he's changed the presidency.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I guess the final question I have now, this is kind of new. The re- Seth Rich revelations just came out, and I guess they're pretty damning against the whole Russia hacked the election thing, conspiracy. Do- What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
definitely. Well, I mean, it's just this crazy saga that goes back with the Clintons for decades now. I mean, like, the Clinton kill count is like people have been talking about that on both sides for a long time, and just the circumstantial evidence of now the FBI, someone from the FBI saying that there's a connection between Seth Rich leaking the DNC emails to WikiLeaks showing all this criminality. And the fact that Seth Rich, they're saying it was a botched robbery. Just nothing adds up anymore. So I think several YouTubers and commentators have reported that this whole Russia Trump thing is like their ruse to try to cover up this massive case that could potentially take down the Democratic Party more than the lawsuit that they're facing right now.
Yeah.
Like they're taking it from both sides. It's kind of like it's like poetic justice right now. I'm just trying to ride it out.
No, I agree. I agree. And I find it funny too, like people deny the Seth Rich revelations because they think that our government would never lie to us. It's like, I mean, look up Operation Dropkick, Operation Big Itch, Operation Northwoods. Our government has done some terrible, terrible things in the past. So if you think they wouldn't lie to you about something like that, they're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, we take out, political adversaries all the time, all around the world. I mean, that's just our history, and it goes back, as far as there's ever been politics. This is what people do occasionally when people get in the way. So it just, I don't know. I think that, you and I talking about this, everyone on YouTube talking about it, keeping it in the press is just so important right now because we're the only thing that's going against mainstream media right now.
Yeah, I agree. And hopefully this continues to be dispersed over worldwide. I mean, this needs to get out, and I think it will because I look on YouTube now, like that's all there is now is Seth Rich, Seth Rich. And I know like me and others were making videos about this months ago, and it's finally nice to see this actually at the forefront
Yeah.
and being disseminated, and hopefully it continues on. But I guess that's kind of all I have for you. I thank you for coming on and doing the talk. It was really nice. So YouTube, you can follow her at she's Zoon of Politikon, Holly Seeliger. The link to her channel is in the description. So Holly, thanks for coming on again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh yeah.